Now I'm excited to see what Kaz has got in mind, because I would say, like, traditionally this is more Wham's domain. This is a Civ that him and Puppypaw especially were really leading the way in terms of exploiting on Dry Arabia specifically. But I wouldn't say Kaz was any pushover, and Kaz is the type of player that likes to play high-tempo aggressive. So I'm curious to see what his iteration of the Delhi involve. Now, I'm not expecting anything crazy like Puppypaw's Let's Forget to actually research anything for 10 minutes. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of like outpost dominance involved in this. I'm just curious to see how it plays in. In fact, actually, okay, I'm not going to demean Kazva like that, because I actually want to give him credit. Like, I feel as if Kazva has outpost rushed a lot less in the last week or two, because I think he was starting to get a little bit of a bad rap. I remember rating one of his streams and seeing in the chat that someone said, like, someone says along the lines, like, I hear you really like Outposts. And he's like, Outposts? I don't like Outposts. And they said, that's not what BC said. So maybe just getting a little bit of a cheeky name. And it is a good weapon to have in your arsenal, but you need to be more than just that. And I think he is more than that. I think, like, Kazva is on this similar journey we talked about Puppypaw, where you move from just being, like, a hyper-aggressive player into, like, a more calculated player, weighing up the opportunities. And the cool thing about Kazva, like, the thing that I hope he doesn't lose is his ability to not just go for these, like, weighed out plays, but, like, when he's weighing them out, understand when the move is to double down the aggression as opposed to just entirely fall back. Because I think that's going to be the difference maker. If he can be the master at reading that, he can go far. And it's why I've said I think Kazva, I remember I said during Golden League that I think he's going to be a top 10 player by the end of the year. This dude could easily make it to good old Red Bull Wolo to prove exactly that. Like, we have to qualify 12 more people. And it's hard to think us, like, you know, how this guy wouldn't be in that 12. Who are you going to replace him with right now? He's phenomenal. And I have to give him credit for that. Like, this guy is on the grind hard, and he's constantly, like, flirting that top 10 mark with more games played than anyone else in the top 10. And the grind is starting to pay off. And by the way, like, little detail to keep note of, like, you know, this guy fully committed. At first, he was like AoE 2, AoE 4, dipping his toes in both, but he decided he wanted to actually commit into Age of Empires 4. He put his mind, body, and soul in it, and I feel like it's starting to pay off a little. And hopefully it'll continue to. Hopefully he can get a little bit of pocket money in his pocket on the way to Wololo, and then hopefully he can actually make it to the event to make some money. Now, that isn't me being a biased caster. It's just, with the talent he's displaying, he deserves to be rewarded. And of course, Wham is another player that should be there alongside him with how his performance has been going. This is a guy who, you know, had no competitive career before this. He played some StarCraft, but didn't have a long list of accolades. He didn't have a history in the scene like a BC or a Demuslim or a Marine Lord. You know, he never got a chance to get up on that stage. And ever since he's got up on the stage here in Age of Empires 4, he's impressed us more and more every time we've seen him. It's being outshone a little bit by Puppypaw right now, but maybe the Pop Ladders right now and the Legend from Ladders is the perfect place to show that he still got it. He can still be just as good as his bro. Because even when they've been actually scrimming against each other at the moment, I believe they had a show match the other week and ended up being a scoreline of 4-1 in favor of Puppypaw. So Puppypaw really has kind of perfected the current meta. And he's becoming fast the trendsetter. But these two are not far behind him. So build-up timings. Notably slower for Kazva. Wham seemed to be a little bit more optimal here. In fact, he's already prepping the gold as well, so we'll be able to quickly get the first of the scholars out. Well, I'm wondering where the slowdown came out, actually, in comparison to their bases. There's something I'm missing here. Lumbercamp. I wouldn't be surprised if Wham was more delayed on the Wombercamp. The Wombercamp? It's been a long stream, almost 10 hours. Wombercamp, because it's Wham, makes sense. Then Kazva. Maybe he went for, yeah, he went for Straggler Tree. Did Kazva? No, Kazva didn't. So there's your difference maker there. And it was a little bit more optimal the way that it was played out. As a result, Wham will get a quicker tech up timing. By the way, if it hasn't become obvious to you yet, Lexus is indeed Wham. Let's see what he can do. So there's a few different openings now, especially in a Delhi Mirror. It's kind of trying to read what your opponent is doing. Some people like to go for the double blacksmith, so they delay their show and force their opponent to make a show first. Other players just like to double down like hard into Horseman. I think one of the most like effective solutions I've seen regularly, I think Salami especially is a big fan of this in Delhi Mirrors, is he will very often go into the triangle. He'll go for the stables, racks, and archery ranges, so he has all his bases covered. least opening up. Looks like Wham is going to just commit to stable first, a standardized choice, and the Rax reaction out of Kaz will be good. Might struggle to kind of be tempo mid, though, as we'll be in a more reactionary state, having the slower unit. Looks like Wham has scouted that out, so he knows entirely about that Rax. But on the other side, Kazva is being baited away from the base intentionally, so as a result, Wham will be able to delay the reveal of this, but even when he does, he is at a disadvantage to start off with. So the approach for Kazva then, if he's going for spears as an opener, should be to rely on static defenses on sacred sites. I would love to see him pull some early villages while he has the better unit composition to get up initial outposts on the 2 eastern sacred sites. This will deny out a lot of opportunity for Kazva, and his time is going to be delayed. Not Kazva, sorry, for Wham. And his time will be delayed even further by the fact that he's gone for a blacksmith instead of going for a second unit type. Another opportunity as well if Kazva wants to get one up. Instead, he'll go for the blacksmith himself as well. Horsemen are revealed and pushed away. Wham. How are we looking on Sanctity? He should be ahead of Kazva. Kazva 1 minute 40 out. Yeah, so I have a 30-second net advantage. This should lead to a quicker pull towards the sites. Now, Kazva can defend one of these very strongly to begin with, and there isn't much that Wham can do to contest that. He could try to just double up on Horseman to Spears, but it's still not a good trade. Instead, he's going to get the archery range, so we'll be delaying his response. But the timing at this rate should line up reasonably well. By the time he actually has Sanctity, he should have three archers, maybe 4 in the field. Yeah, definitely more than 4 because he does garrison the Scholar inside. In fact, that's something that Kazva isn't utilizing so far, and I'm quite surprised by this. Instead, it looks like he wanted to get the tech up faster, realizing he was behind in his feudal. But as a result, you aren't getting the double production on the stable or the racks, so your numbers are going to be behind. Instead, he invests them elsewhere into getting the Palisades up. Palisades that will be a frustration for poor Wham to get through this composition at least. It looks like he will at least be able to play the outskirts. Is going for the left sacred site, realizing that is a free cap. Will also move towards the right one. And this is an interesting dynamic at play. Because Kazva, because he's going hard into Spearman right now, he doesn't actually have the force to respond on both flanks. Kazva will make the pull now. 3 scholars. So, presumably this move is him trying to move one side to the other, min-maxing his damage to loss ratio. Or loss to damage ratio for the min-max. So basically, he just wants to keep casualties low every fight and start to snowball up. This is a popular strategy for Delhi. Right now, by comparison, Wham is playing wide to try and divide and conquer. Logic being that Kazva can't show up to 2 places at once, so you can just try to skirt the fights and stay away from the main death blob to begin with. Okay, I was wondering how long he will realize quite quick. I was like, this is the type of thing that can really slip your mind. Looks like first Sacred Site control does go to Wham on the flank. A few Spearmen now marching out that way, but plenty of Horsemen chasing after them. This should be a good trade for Wham. Commits while he has the clear number advantage, and even if the Spears turn around now, that's going to be a bad fight. In fact, they're just chasing across the Scholar, and this is to your detriment. You'll finally turn around. If you min-max this, you can just pull the Horseman back in time. There's nothing to overwhelm here. They will back off past this just in time. Too heavily injured. Have to micro this correctly. Oh, that's not on point micro, though. 2 Horsemen going down straight away. A third as well. So Wham, off the mark with this fight. The Scholar's at least going to try to make it a little bit better as he kisses the Boo-Boos, but the Boo-Boos are fast becoming giant slashes and gashes. That means he's going to be crashing off of the site. And the eastern one. Wham, this divide and conquer, it's not paying off, especially with the way he took the fights here. He's heavily discounted now. Archers have to back away, Scholars have to back away. All 3 sacred sites looking like they'll be under the control of Kazva. This is a problem. And this is the issue with the build that Wham went for, because the divide and conquer strategy is an interesting idea if you don't rely on static infantry. But you had to in this composition, and because your archers weren't in position on either fight, ends up being bad trades on both sides of the map. He'll at least turn it into a small win on the eastern front. By the time he does, the Sacred Site cap is going to be heavily delayed, and it means that Kazva will be trickling ahead in the gold department. So we are now going to get into the Holy Trinity. So archery range now coming out from Kazva. Still only a 2-unit composition out of Wham, and Wham has not gone for a secondary blacksmith to at least try and get that one up. Meanwhile, look at Kazva. Kazva is feeling good in this game for good reason. He's in control right now, so he can sidestep into the greed of a second blacksmith and get away with it entirely. Folks, he's finally now starting to bank the scholars, so the production rates are going to increase. Wham does have the advantage in terms of quantity, but the quality isn't exactly there. Ball's at least going up. We'll look to fortify and hold. Dude, when I watch moments like that, I mean, maybe it's just like me imagining things in my like boomer mind from years ago, but like when I see little palisade defenses like this with range units inside, it kind of reminds me of good old Cossacks. Shout out to anyone who kind of gets that vibe as well. It's not exactly your gunpowder unit standing here in guard, but it reminds me of so many campaign levels there. Wham. We're going to make his way across. Raiden like Cossacks here. Horseman backstab coming in is a problem though. A fight difficult for Wham to take. Nice block coming in, just gets between them there long enough that the archers can start to trade out the spears. More archers coming from the fold here. Wham is going to back up, start stepping back as he annihilates the last of the spearmen, but the counter horseman is against him. Look at the numbers right now. It's 12 against the 6. Wham has to back away entirely. Sacred Site control will once again remain with Kazva, as will the valuable trades. Wham. Now he's in a raiding state. Like, he can't actually play towards Sacred Sites at this stage. He's too far behind. Like, that loss slows him down. And although the pop cap looks close, the difference is these horsemen. The horsemen are a more valuable investment in vast quantities. Just allows you to body block. I think body blocking is a heavily undervalued element of Age of Empires. It's not really talked about that much, but one cool thing that the horsemen give you, and you saw it in that fight, it was something that actually Wham was trying to heavily utilize but didn't have enough to do it, is you can block your opponent from engaging the counter. And they are pretty chunky. With 125 health, they can last a while doing that. It's actually a heavily undervalued element of gameplay, and it's a high skill element. This fight from Kazva, overly ambitious to say the least. Thinks he can reach in that easy. Find it a little bit more difficult. Because although he's ahead, Wham is still not out this game yet. Instead, it should be that Kaz is playing for the Sacred Sites. He never decapped the Eastern Front, never capped the West. So, like, overall, the worrying detail for me is Kazva missed his opportunity. He tried to play for base, and there's no way you play for base there. Like, the count is not going to be low enough. It's not going to be high enough in your favor for you to do that. Instead, you should be focusing on these Sacred Sites, and this delay is going to give value over to poor old Wham, who's been getting battered so far in the fights. In fact, the time it's going to take you to access this final Sacred Site, I could see Wham collecting enough resources to make Castle. And I think that's where the race is now. Kazva will have the edge moving on to the second Sacred Site. It's not going to assault in the center, though, because as soon as Wham sees that move, he plays to the cluster. Easy breach. No repairs ever came out in the center here, so that would be a capture. A decap from Kazva and a capture of Wham. He's trying to rush across now, but this is going to be a slow response. And also, keep in mind the way you're going to be spawning. You'll have to delete your walls to rush through. All the walls in the meantime being taken out by Wham. Interesting choice here. Kazva ready to make his way up, but Wham also nipping at his heels here. How to get the required gold. Kazva's yet to go up, in fact. This delay is going to hurt him. In fact, Wham's going to beat him to the punchline, and look at the investment. He thinks he's behind right now. He should think he's behind. And as a result, he's going to invest 27 villagers into the House of Learning. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kazva only with 10 into the compound of the defender. Differing in approaches here, but this means that Kazva is going to want to heavily leverage into the stone. Stone that he hasn't even started gathering yet. Meanwhile, count now being with Wham. Starting to build up that death ball. Playing into the House of Learning. Should be a transition into Lancers in the future. And, well, the awkward detail is who spots who's first. Now, it's more likely that you realize Kazva went into Compound Defender than it is that he realized you went to House of Learning early based on an early keep drop. But Kazva isn't playing for that yet. Spearman pushing in. Trading counterparts right now. Kazva is going to start a transition. Looks like he's thinking about going to the man-at-arms. Plenty of horsemen in the field. Bodying on top of him here. Skulls to try to keep the healing going, but the target comes out. Archers focus firing them down, taking them out one by one. Kazva with only one skull on the front line left, and the front line is going to hold healthy for Wham in comparison. A bad fight coming out from Kazva is going to lead to a complete wipe of his army. And after that, Wham is going to be able to kick it down the line. He's going to delay this further. The detail that's important about that is that he's going into home blades, something that will actually give him a benefit in 5 minutes when they start fighting again. And also the relics now being picked up. Relics, a critical detail. One that Kazva has played too late here. That will play to the advantage of Wham. He'll bank 2 to open this up. And I believe he's got more returning soon. Still guarding on the side. Could go for the wall lock. We'll delay this. Wham will min-max the damage before pulling out. And that should allow him to finish him off unless some villagers pull out here to assist or someone pulls out to assist. Raid out on the left side. Looks like now Wham's going for the triple cap. Wants to start that timer. The man-at-arms push coming out as well. This is going to start to overwhelm fast if you're not careful. And Wham, this is just to kick the timer down the line. He's waiting 3.5 minutes. That's when the death ball really kicks up. And in conjunction with that, look what he's prioritizing. It's such a highly underrated tech, but such a phenomenal one. The Force March. The reason this is so important, folks, is in a Delhi Mirror matchup, if you suspect your opponent is going elephants, Forced March will allow you to gap close with either man-at-arms or spears and block their escape. This is about to get very interesting. And you'll see Wham, he'll pull back on the man-at-arms for now. I'd love to see him switch back into spears. Spears could do a hell of a lot of work here. At the moment, continues the MAA push. Meanwhile, looking to breach on the left side, deny even more gold away from Kazva, strain him. Kazva is now going to the stone, but it's pretty late to do so. So his boom up is going to be heavily delayed here. Wham just keeps the push going. Skull's moving the front line as well. Those tech ups almost done. It's basically for free. He's getting home blades for free. I mean, obviously that's the way Delhi always work, but like the resources they have to invest is time. Time can be a very fragile and precious thing, but Wham's getting it all for free. If anything, Kazva should be the one playing hard on the stone and then keep dropping, because Compounded Defender is phenomenal in Castle Age, but long term, the home blades with this build could lead to Wham's infinite scaling in these battles. Like, well, not infinite scaling, but like it's going to get better and better every fight, basically. Force Marches plus Home Blades allows you to block out any escape for these Tower Elephants. And look at this, the two-pronged assault. Wham is waiting for the wrap. Kazva reveals his troops. Wham almost there. Force March in 30 seconds. Home Blades in almost 2. MAA are going to arrive now around the back here, pushing him away. Kazva getting pushed towards the weighted arms, the man-at-arms. Spears trying to stick on top of him. Trade out underway, trying to block him as he retreats. Heavy damage being done, but Formation Shuffle gets him back away. And now Wham will match exactly what Kazva is doing. Blocks him in, he gets on top. He gets around. What a quick maneuver out there from Wham. Able to get rid of one of the units very fast there. Of course, the advantage of Tower Elephants is in their moving, in their mobility. The moment they get stuck on the spot is when things go bad. The man-at-arms continue to just dive in. Spiral defenses coming out from Kazva. Still seeing Outpost as a key element of gameplay for him, but on the defensive in this situation. Wham's about to get the good times, folks. Force March is available. He can gap close and block this Tower Elephant's escape, but instead of take the clash of the man-at-arms, having the number advantage. This Elephant will move across onto the Outpost. Needs to respect the Springald emplacements and will back up for the moment. And it looks like he won't reveal he's got Force March yet. I like this approach because it's unlikely that Kazva realizes it's available yet. Instead, he'll bulk up. Count ever more increasing. Kaz going for his counter raids here with the Lancers moving in. Only 2 of them will make it through, and the villagers are going to pull back fast as Wham is fully aware of what's coming. Saves up enough for a keep. It looks like he's going to play towards Sacred Site Control. Speaking of which, Control now going the way of Kazva. Push in now coming. Wham makes his way towards Kazva's base. These outposts were not fortified. They got the Springals, but they did not get the defense. The keep drop. Aggressively postured here. Only a few villagers on the front line right now. You have to quickly sidestep this to block out the Elephant trying to assault here. An Elephant that will make short work of these villagers, even with the textiles. Instead, he pushes on top. Now the Force March in. Blocks him out. Catches another. And it is like catching butterflies with a big net right now. Only he will wish that these could flutter away like butterflies, trapped inside, forced to commit right now. The trade out favoring Wham, and Kasva blocked off from retreat on the second elephant, all in and throwing away the troops. With it, throwing away his defense force and allowing Wham to stabilize with a keep on the edge of his base. And now he'll break up and he'll move in. Man-at-Arms begin to dive. Torches out, looking for targets. A defensive keep coming out from Kasva in his very own base. He went for a secondary TC instead of the keep. But he regrets that now. In fact, he went 3 TCs. Oh. Oh, this is very greedy. Now, if Wham dives deeper, he's going to realize it, but the keep might slow him down. Tower Elephants making their way in. Several villages to be sacrificed. Will garrison inside the TC. Get your heads ready. It's time to start headbutting things as they're going to move in onto the keep. Torches out as well. But I think this dive is a little bit too soon, so Wham will back up. Keep on the front line almost complete. 2 more elephants making their way out. Looks like he did end up losing one in the end, so an unneeded sacrifice. Wham jumping the gun and getting a little bit too excited here. At least wrap around on the food eco as Kasva has to peel back further. There's no food up here, and that's something he desperately needs. Farmland transition only just begun. Sacred Site's now going to be captured, so Wham says, Kaz, you have to come out your base. You can't sit away forever and play with yourself in the basement. You need to come make friends. This villager pool, single man-at-arms, just going to keep chasing them around. Are they about to wall themselves in on the Sacred Site? Yo. That's actually pretty smart. He'll get the decap. So just as soon as like a win condition will come out from Wham, it'll be blocked again. But the problem is the Scholar here. You have to get your shivs out and brutally murder the poor old man. Jesus, they didn't even hesitate. Man-at-arms are on the way to protect, though. It's going to take a while to burn through here, mind you. Wait, what's going on here? I think the Scholar auto-aggroed to heal, and now he'll finally shuffle them around. That might actually delay this long enough. Yeah, the villagers are making their way out, so Sacred Site capture is going to remain, and Kaz does have to come out soon. He still doesn't have a military force. Instead, he's building Springolds. A peculiar choice here, considering that Wham has not built any siege. And not a great solution to the Tower Elephants, only doing 25 damage per shot. Does add up if you have enough of them. But with the quantity you're going to build, is there something better you could have had? Oh my god, this Scholar. Look at this big pimper now. You got the speed. Zoom, zoom. Catch me if you can. You never can. Looks like the wall's going to go down. Now, this is at least blocking the tick down, because remember, he actually slivered this down a little bit from full Sacred Site cap, so the timer isn't counting down, but that's about to change. Oh, wow, he actually hung around, so he ends up losing the Scholar. Villager will also now pay the price. What? Guys, come on, that's not the shortest route. The dive's coming out, and just as soon as he transitioned to the Springolds, that gets spotted out and chased down. The force march again out of Wham, and this time, the 5 elephants moving in. It's Elephanto fun time, no boiling oil yet. Scholars aren't here to heal at least, so one elephant's going to go right now. What the hell are you doing, right? Get in there, get. That delay is probably going to cost him an additional elephant. And he hasn't got more coming out just yet. He needs to push more soon, though. Finally wants to make his way out of the base, but a long way to go. The TC Fire adding in as well. That's only 3 elephants remaining. This is looking uncomfortably tight right now. Like, you could easily lose the elephants again. Keep in mind that Kasva is starting to reach, like, eco mass, at which stage he should be able to push out enough troops to overwhelm you. Especially if you throw him away like this. TC are actually adding quite a lot of fire in here. Or were before. Now it's just on the keep, and the keep will stabilize. Like, he might set on fire. It's about as good as it gets, though. With 13 villages inside, this will be repaired. And remember that this is also, you can see, already had its village fortresses research. So this isn't 3 TC effective. This is 5 TC effective now for Kasva. A new raid in. Man-at-Arms clashing with the villagers trying to repair, but this is just not fast enough. If you had Trebs behind it, maybe. The Scholar Boogaloo is going to begin. And now the elephant count is increasing. This might be the turning point, but he needs to be fast about this. Heavy damage once again being dished out. And the secondary keep going up. Man-at-Arms are going to clash with that, though. The Home Blades increasing their damage to make sure they quickly cut down this line, and that is going to be a denied keep. Heavy hit for Kazva, because after all that work, he's now neck and neck on the village account. Wham! Looking in control now. The double down is working out. Enough elephants are coming through. The onslaught continues, and the villagers once again pull out to try and repair. But Boiling Oil is not there yet. Still 25 seconds away. Something that's going to be exploited by Wham to try and finish this off. Repairs come out. A few more villagers go down. The re-garrison, the rebuild on the south side. We'll get another keep up. But keep in mind, the keeps are coming from the other side as well. Wham is starting to call in. The Man-at-Arms rush in. The Force March. Guys, can I just highlight how important this is and how good it is? Force March is like the most underrated thing for the Delhi. I actually wince at how rarely I get to see it utilized in compositions that use infantry. And Wham is presenting to you exactly why it's good. In a Delhi mirror, in any sort of rush situation. The gap close is insane on these units. And the Home Blades, that's just the cherry on top. Keep once again on fire. Several more villagers going down. Kazva, he's falling apart right now. His eco is looking small boy right now, despite the fact that he has so many keeps. Doesn't feel that way. Oh, wait. I was lying. He didn't have village fortresses. My apologies. I misread that. I thought it actually already been taken, chugging these keeps, but the crazy part, folks, is I don't think that's networked in. That's not networked in. He could have had it by now. He probably would have had it with the increase on research rates if he just garrisoned some scholars in. That being said, like, Kazva doesn't have any scholars right now, so maybe that's another argument he had. Or doesn't have many. Wait, where is his scholars? He's got 4. Oh, wait, no, that's active research. No, he's got 0 scholars. Yeah, I think Kazva's dead then. This would have been make no mistake, this would have been a very different game if he already had village fortresses. If he started researching here straight away, instead of Boiling Oil, I think he's actually better off in this game. He has enough villages to, like, just offset this, but this delay, like, another 2 minutes, Wham's going to be close to, like, 100 pop cap at this rate. He's already going for village fortresses himself, and both of them are making a crime here. There is no Fort Mosque from Wham. There is no mosque connected into your village fortress research here. And remember, the village fortresses have... the keeps rather, like the mosque, they have Wi-Fi. So if you set up a mosque aggressively next to this, it will get any sort of research rates based on any scholars inside at home. Instead, the push in. Relic's now gone. Wham, he's taken a new approach to this. He dove so much. He killed so much. He's happy to take a much slower entry into the base of Kazva now, targeting out the landmarks. Kazva, like this... Even if you get the village fortresses now, what do you do with it is the question mark I have. Gold is not inaccessible, so you have limited quantities. Wood is going to actually drain up fast if you get village fortresses with multiple keeps here. And you don't have much room to expand, not just more farms, but also production buildings. Your base is getting too small. And it's getting even smaller. It's the Trebs now targeting onto the compound defender. All 3 landmarks are now in a situation where Kazva can't repair them. Unless he wants to lose villagers. And that's what's going to happen here. Defensive keep, trying to go up. Needs to go more aggressive. Going to delete the houses. This is all in play. This either works or he loses the game. Here we go. Trebs. Trebs! No! That's GG. That's basically GG. Kazva's got enough stone to go again. But now this dive, this frustration dive to get rid of the trebuchets, it's going to be too many villagers dead. That's it. That's all she wrote. Kazva has no way back into this game. That was his all-in maneuver. And I think he knows it now as well. He tried for an aggressive keep. That was the only recovery point, but that's not available either. Wham blocks him out. He read him perfectly. One of the lead boys with the Delhi continues to do exactly that when you stick him up in these mirror matchups, even against someone who's looking phenomenal right now, like Kazva. Yeah, that drop-off. That drop-off was harsh. I'm actually excited to see Wham start utilizing builds like this. I'm not sure how popular it's going to be outside the Delhi mirror, but genuinely, like, Forced March is so underrated. It's a phenomenal tool, and you saw exactly how there. You can leverage it to snipe out these elephants easy. Easy peasy. And that is like something I want people to take note of from this one. If there's one thing you take away, if you're in a Delhi Mirror, don't be the person that just goes Elefanto fun time. Be the person that gets Force March. It's not just for Man-at-Arms, it's for Spears as well. Spears do it even quicker because you get 100% increase. You do that on the Man-at-Arms, they go to like 2.24 movement speed. You do that on the Spearmen, they're at 2.5 movement speed for 10 seconds. You can do anything with that. You can take over the world.